Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to unpack the giant viral rug story that has been taking over TikTok and breaking the internet in half. This crazy viral story is about a woman on TikTok who posted about how not only does she think her house is haunted for specific reasons, but she also, with that, found a mysterious rug buried very deep in her yard. This was the catalyst for an online storm as she went absolutely viral, millions and millions and millions of views on her updates of people wanting to know what was in the rug. Because as we know, in a lot of true crime stories, sometimes people roll up bodies in rugs and things like that. And people all around the world had to know whether this woman was about to solve a missing persons case or if she had a secret crime scene right in her backyard. However, I'm also going to touch today on all the drama that has gone along with this story because, as you know, when you go viral, people have stuff to say. Now, we're going to be doing a lot of debunking in this video as well because, as usual, I have a lot of thoughts about this paranormal activity that Katie is allegedly experiencing. And I also have a lot of thoughts about her response to going viral, which involves a very popular podcast here on YouTube called Do We Know Them? There's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of tea, there's a lot to unpack here, so we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by an amazing longtime sponsor of this channel, which is Factor. As a lot of you guys know, I have been using Factor for at least over a year now. I love Factor, they really get me through, and I have to say, they make struggling to find what to eat for lunch and dinner a thing of the past. One of the best things about Factor is the options. So many options. Factor offers 35 wholesome meals every week, and you can choose from plans like Gourmet Plus, Keto, Calorie Smart, Vegan Veggie, so you'll always have something in there that you love that also suits your lifestyle. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved, chef prepared meals right to your door that are ready in just 2 minutes. Today, I'm eating Factor's ground beef and thyme cottage pie with Parmesan buttered zucchini. It was absolutely the perfect warm fall comfort meal. Factor also has over 60 add-ons that you can choose from each week, from breakfast options to smoothies to fun, super novel snacks to try. Give yourself the gift of more time this spooky season, more time for apple picking and pumpkin carving, less time wasted on cooking, preparing, cleaning. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code HannahTheHorrible50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus 20% off your next month of orders. That's code HannahTheHorrible50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month of orders. Okay, so first of all, I am not going to keep this person anonymous simply because this has gone so massively viral. Frankly, it would be absolutely pointless. So her public name on TikTok is Katie Santry, and she pretty much simultaneously instantly went viral the second she posted her first video about this. So we're going to go through the story first. We're going to watch the TikToks together and react to them together. As we go along, I am going to do some debunking and putting in my own thoughts and reactions, but this will help you understand what is even going on. So let's start with part one. Her part one titled, I Think My House is Haunted.
I think my house is haunted and I'm freaking out. Like, I'm literally shaking. This is my sunroom. This is where I work. I sit here every day. There's a playroom here, doors here. This is the space. I worked in here last night until about 6:30. Everything was fine. Shut my laptop. We close these doors so the dogs don't come in here at night. No one is in this room. I'm down this morning to work. The screen shattered. This stuff down here. This hanging off. But the fucking kicker for me is that this that only goes on this shelf and only goes on this shelf ever, up here. Why? I've never put it there. I don't put it here. My phone sits there when I work. Why was that there? Here's the next bit of important information. So we're building a fence, and back here, we dug a hole. There is a rolled up carpet buried underground that we came across as we were digging this hole. Rolled up carpet. Who the fuck and why the fuck is there a rolled up carpet underground?
Okay, so starting strong right off the bat, she explains why she thinks her house is haunted and then that there is a weird rug/carpet buried underground in her backyard and wondering if the two events are connected. So we're going to talk plenty about the rug in this video, but I just want to start off with her paranormal experience that she is saying that she's had here. Now, I am the debunker. That's what I do on this channel. I look at things from a very skeptical point of view, and I am going to think of every other possible explanation before I assume that it's ghosts or paranormal activity. And for the office stuff, I'm just trying to think, if I was in her shoes and I walked into my office and I saw things askew like that, would I initially think it's ghosts? For me, I live alone. So if a bunch of stuff was messed up when I know I left it one way the night before and came to look at it the next day, I would be a little freaked out. However, I would still think of other explanations before I jump to ghosts. My first thought would be that it was my dog, that my dog knocked over stuff when I wasn't looking, or when I was downstairs, she was in here and knocked something over, or something just got loose and shook around. You know, like that's just like what I would think before. If weird stuff kept happening, I lived alone and I couldn't find any other explanation for it, maybe I would start to be a little freaked out about paranormal activity. But for the most part, I think I wouldn't just jump to ghosts. Now, she does say that her dogs don't have access to that room, so it couldn't have been them. She doesn't think it was. She has a stepson, by the way, an older stepson, a baby of her own who seems to be very little, I believe. I don't know exactly how old he is because they're not involved with the story, that her boyfriend/partner also couldn't have done it. My question, why don't you think your boyfriend could have done this, or your stepson? I don't know. My first thought would be that either her older stepson or her boyfriend went in there after she had gone to bed. She didn't know that they went in there. Somebody knocked something over. They happened to then, they knocked the desk, which sent her stuff askew. Some stuff fell off. Her laptop fell on the ground and broke her screen. Now, mind you, if you don't know, she has a MacBook. It looks like a MacBook Pro to me, and I know that because I just bought one myself. When my computer broke, I wanted the highest quality computer I could possibly find because it's my work computer. Those computers on the very low end, if you get a great discount, might be like $2,500, depending on the specs and everything like that. My top specs, I got the best specs out there, again, because I need to edit on this computer and record audio, was $3,000 for this MacBook Pro. I understand if somebody in her household had made a mistake and broke her laptop screen, why they would maybe be scared to tell her that. And part of me, this is complete speculation, I have no idea, but part of me wonders if her stepson went in there, knocked it over, called his dad, her boyfriend, and was like, freaking out because he was so worried about upsetting his stepmom and felt super bad. And so they put everything back and they didn't say anything. Or perhaps they dropped the laptop. They didn't know the screen broke. This seems more likely to me even. They didn't even know the screen broke, but they dropped it on the ground. Were like, oh shit. Put it all back where they thought it was and then left the room. The nipple butter that she's like is always up here, but it was down here. That screamed somebody knocked it over and they were trying to put things back where they thought they went. That's where my brain would go, especially because she's not alone in that house. And I just kind of wonder if her family was trying to spare her being super upset at them or something like that. Or they, for some reason, they really didn't want to tell her. That's where my brain goes. Because again, this also isn't paranormal activity of like something slightly moving while you're in the room, or a door slamming, or feeling a weird draft or an orb. This is one event that all happened in a tiny concentrated part of the house, which screams somebody ran into the desk, threw the computer on accident on the ground. Okay, I'm harping too much on that. Now, the other thing, we're going to get to this later, but Katie herself has been a little sensitive to a lot of people online calling her a liar or saying that she's making up parts of her story. And I have, Katie, if you're watching this, I get it. I understand feeling defensive. But I beg of you to see it as not personal when people are speculating that you may be lying, because the other possible explanation is that your laptop broke for some other reason, that it was already shattered, and that you created the story about the desk and all that other stuff, because we didn't see the desk fall. All we saw is you saying what it looked like when you woke up in the morning. Do I think you're lying about that? I don't. I honestly don't know why you would lie about that. I don't personally think that. But please, for the love of God, for the love of all that is holy, think about it from the internet's point of view. It's not personal. It's not that we think you are a liar. It's that people on the internet lie. You could be the most wholesome, honest person in the world, but we don't know you. And you went viral. There's millions of eyes on you. We don't know that you're not the type of person to lie. If this was anyone else, literally 1,000 people could make the same video and I would think about it as a possibility that any of them could be lying. It's not personal towards you whatsoever. It's the fact that we can't just take things at face value and be like, oh, well, it must be a ghost. We just can't do that. That's not helpful in our society. That is not helpful when it comes to internet misinformation and thinking critically when viewing random crap on the internet, because there's so much bullshit out there. So that's where I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about more about this later, but I just like, she did have her feelings hurt that people were calling her a liar, which I get. That's totally valid to feel hurt when you know you're not lying. It's so frustrating when people are calling you a liar and saying this and that. I get that, but like, it's literally not about you whatsoever. It's about trying to combat misinformation and thinking critically about things and seeing other possibilities. Okay, so part 2 and 3, we're not going to watch together. I'm just going to tell you and show you some of it. She's showing the rug in the backyard or the carpet or whatever it is. So she's showing us where it is, what it kind of looks like, and how deep in the ground it is. It's really, really in there. Somebody planted a tree over the top, which was kind of weird. It was a bloodgood tree, which she thought was also very strange, but I think that's confirmation bias. But of course, everybody's asking her to dig up the rug, dig up the rug, dig up the rug. They are hounding her for updates. Dig up the rug. We want to see what's in the rug. And she's trying to explain to everybody, and I understand her frustration because sometimes people are very demanding for your time on the internet, that she explains in a later video, I can't dig up the rug, you guys. This is not just some tiny piece of carpet in the ground. It is feet underground. It's super long. The dirt is really compact. There's rocks and everything. We would need special equipment, probably an excavator. I'm going to say that wrong throughout this video. Some words I just can't say. We would need an excavator to get it out of the ground. Like, there's no way I could just dig it up on an afternoon and tell you what's inside. So that's part 2 and 3. Let's move on to part 4, which is another possible paranormal activity thing.
Something that also feels important as a detail to let you know that I found to be so weird in this whole fiasco of did a ghost fuck my shit up last night. This morning, my stepson, I heard him call his dad in and say, hey, like, this is so weird. When I went to bed, my phone was at 100% on the charger, and he woke up and it was at 3%. And now I have all these people saying that, like, ghosts steal energy and that's, like, how they fuck shit up. And what are the odds that the same night that his phone just randomly goes from 100 to 3% is the same night my computer gets broken and stuff gets moved around, all while digging up a potential dead body in my backyard? I don't know what to do.
Okay, Exhibit B. This is another thing that, again, I like to call confirmation bias, which is, again, something that is very, very active in the paranormal debunking, but the paranormal, just like all the paranormal TikToks and stuff, is people attributing things to a certain event that might be unrelated. Now, my question here would be, if this event with your stepson and his phone happened completely separately to all this. Say you never dug up the yard, you had no idea there was a rug out there. Say this happened weeks before or even months before, or completely your computer never broke, that stuff in your office never happened. One morning you woke up and your son's phone didn't work. It was at 3% even though he had it plugged in. Would you automatically, if this other stuff wasn't happening, would you automatically say, oh my God, it must be a ghost? Probably not. You'd think the charger malfunctioned, the phone malfunctioned. He thought he plugged it in and he didn't, or he didn't plug it in right. If you don't have the right charger, if you have one of those chargers from Amazon, for example, you guys all know what I'm talking about. After a few months of use, we all know that a lot of the time they just, even if they're plugged in, they aren't charging your phone. And if he has an old phone, the battery's just going to get eaten up and everything like that. Like, That's what I'm saying, is that if this was a separate event from the other stuff, I don't think you would be automatically assuming it was a ghost. I understand that, yes, if ghosts are real, it's a well-known thing that they are able to interact with our devices and mess up electronic devices. So I understand where she's coming from. But again, I wouldn't automatically, like, I think, remember that your head is in the ghost place. Your head is like in that scared, like, oh my God, I'm being haunted place. So you're going to attribute patterns to the ghosts that might not be related at all. So the rug in the yard, she mentions that it might have a dead body in it. So she is thinking that if there's a body in her yard, she thinks that that could be explaining the paranormal activity that she believes she's experiencing in her house. That's basically where we're at right now. Okay, in part 6, I'm not going to show you that one because all she does is say that she did call the police. She wasn't going to, but after so many people were urging her to, she decided to call the police and just, you know, hey, I don't know if this matters, but I thought I'd let you guys know. Okay, let's watch part 7 and 8 together because I do have a few things to say about these.
Oh, man, yeah. See, that it's like the tassel of it. It's like the end of it. Jeez, I don't even know. Carpet. Wow. I was to say it's not, 6 feet long.
Oh yeah, no, there's just something like weird.
Okay, so first, the cops also think it's weird as fuck. And they were like talking about calling homicide. They were talking about how they'd have to get excavators out here. Like they were fully invested just as much as we all are. And then he was like, okay, let me call my boss man and we will figure out what to do. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to call homicide? This is fucking nuts. I'm going to be in my own episode of true crime. R.I.P. Truly. R.I.P. But holy shit, would that not be kind of cool?
Okay, I have to pause there. Now, this is where I think we're losing the plot a tiny bit. I want to give Katie the benefit of the doubt because she might have really regretted saying that afterwards. And again, also not everybody's chronically online like I am or like a lot of us are, in the sense that they don't really know, they're not involved with all the with all of the controversy around true crime, right? So I also want to remember that maybe she hasn't watched a ton of videos or not been very, very aware and critical of the true crime community and how, My Favorite Murder, there's a lot of commentary on that. Bailey Sarian doing her makeup while talking about people dying. There's a lot of criticisms and a lot of discourse going around in the past couple years and now, and maybe she's not on that part of the internet. Maybe she really doesn't think of it that way and she is just saying it as she meant it as a joke. In my opinion, it's a distasteful joke, but I want to give her the benefit of the doubt that maybe she doesn't know about all of the other stuff that a lot of us kind of are deep into, if that makes sense. Maybe she's not aware of the implications of treating true crime as entertainment and how fun and cool and silly it would be to be on a true crime podcast, That being said, this was a distasteful joke. Plain and simple. It wasn't, that's just a mean thing to say about somebody who possibly died. If there was a body in your backyard, being excited and thinking of how this is going, I get to be on a true crime podcast after this. That's a weird place to go. That's my opinion.
Anyways, basically what was decided is that they cannot put resources into something that they don't know what it is. And it is up to me if I decide that I want to finish digging it out. And if there is something there, I can call them. And I'm sorry to leave it there, but that's going to be that, guys, because I cannot keep digging this shit out. If someone has tools and shovels and wants to come to my house in Columbus, feel free to help. Otherwise, mystery remains.
Okay, and here's the next part.
You need an excavator out here to get that, most likely. Potentially, yeah.
You guys all keep telling me just to go dig it out. It's not that easy, okay? It is so deep. Let me show you again. For everyone saying it's burlap, it's fucking carpet. And I think it goes back that way. Also, to everyone who's really fucking upset about us cutting down this tree, same. The cop also pointed out how expensive the tree is and that we destroyed it. I fucking know. It's not been a good day. Our theory is that they're gonna go home, back to the office, and start looking up cold cases. And maybe there was something in the vicinity and they'll come knocking and they'll be like, actually, we've decided we want to dig that up. This was his idea. He came up with this one, and I think it could stick.
So again, with that part, there's nothing really to know, but it is interesting to actually see the carpet in the ground deeper. And again, she's looking very, very excited. Very, very, I mean, dare I say, happy that this is happening. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't really blame her. You know what I mean? Like, it is, like, I do understand. Like, the human part of me understands where she's coming from. Going viral is terrifying. So all of this, like, giddiness that she seems to be displaying could very well, and she does go on to claim this later, that it could just be anxiety. Like, it could just be like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, and there's millions of people watching what I do next. Like, that's scary. And I do understand. I just want to, like, reiterate that I am giving this person the benefit of the doubt all the way through this story. I have some criticisms, but I do get it in a way. Something really crazy is happening in your yard. It's like when people find those weird rooms in their houses and they share it on TikTok. You're like, oh my God, this is crazy, and everybody wants to know too. I can't fault somebody for being excited to go viral. I cannot fault somebody for that. It's exciting, you know? So, okay, moving on. The next part is just about her digging. I'm going to skip a little bit over some of the fluffier, you know, TikToks that don't really matter to the story. So now we're going to watch part 11, and this one I do want to watch with you because she has another theory now. So let's watch this one. I'm going to pause this one a few times.
Good morning, millions of you who are invested. So, I did not anticipate this to pop off the way that it did. Honestly, the timing kind of sucks because I'm going out of town for work today, but holy shit. Update number 1, I do have people volunteering to potentially bring an excavator of some sort. Fucking hell, the ruining of my yard that this will do just for the plot, just because. Okay, let's really think this through, guys. What are the odds that it's a dead body? They're probably low. Let's be honest, they're probably fucking low. What are the odds it's a bag of money? I don't know. I would like that better. I would prefer that over having to move. Alas, here we are, trying to dig this shit out for all of you and for me and for my ability to sleep. But here is where I'm thinking I might need more of a psychic than an excavator. While the police were here yesterday, looking at the carpet and deciding what to do, he mentioned that he was the one who came when the next door neighbor died. My neighbor died in their house, and she can't haunt a house that is literally destroyed, right? Like, who the fuck is she gonna haunt? That's no fun. That would be boring. Why not haunt the next door neighbor? The same day.
Okay. Again. What? I honestly, okay, this is the part where I am gonna criticize a little bit. Here's some constructive criticism. Again, not everybody's in the paranormal community like we are, you guys. Like, not everybody's so deep into the paranormal stuff. Maybe she's very new to all the paranormal stuff, but abandoned places, again, if ghosts are real, I'm not saying they are, but let's just hypothetically say they are. Abandoned places are the most popular for ghosts to go. Like, try Penhurst Asylum, like abandoned hospitals. Everybody thinks those places are abandoned. Like, what do you mean there's no one to haunt? That's no fun. What are you talking? What are you talking about? This is the part where she lost me a little bit because this is the part where she lost me a little bit because that makes no sense. That makes no sense that a ghost would just be like, la 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 la, well, my house is destroyed and closed down, so I'm just gonna go to the next door neighbor. Like, that's a stretch. And this is where we're losing ourselves. We're getting lost in the plot, or we've lost the plot here just a tiny bit. And just using people's dead loved ones as a prop in your viral TikTok story feels wrong to me. I don't like it. I don't think she should have brought in this neighbor who passed away. Like, girl, whether this is anxiety about what's happening and you're overwhelmed because this is so viral, I get it. It's very overwhelming. But whether or not that's the inside emotions that you have, it's coming off as excitement. It is coming off like you are happy that your neighbor died, because now you have another reason you know, okay, let's finish this video first and then I'll finish my thoughts.
The day that my computer gets broken and my desk gets strewn about, they started boarding up the dead lady's house. It feels sus. It feels like, hey, if they're gonna board up my house, I'm just gonna hop over to the next house and haunt them and fuck their day up. And they also just started digging up a rug. So like, this will be so fun. If I was a ghost and I was a dead lady who had no family, because the cop told me she also had no family, so she has no one better to haunt. If I was her, I would haunt me. That would be fun. So anyways, yes, we will get this rug out. I swear to you, I promise we will. Secondly, are we now thinking potentially, if the rug happens to not have a dead body, fingers fucking crossed, is it the neighbor? Is it my dead neighbor that died the day I moved into this house, mind you? Dead neighbor dies the day I move into this house. The day they're boarding up her house, my computer gets shattered and she has no family. She has no one better to haunt. So I don't know. What do we think?
The whole, like, she has no family. Girl, again, I'm not saying, I don't know you as a person. Like, you might, I'm sure you're a very nice person, but you have to understand the way that comes off to a lot of people. Like, you have to understand that saying that comes off like, oh, my neighbor. That way, it feels like you're planting seeds. Our perception as the audience is that it feels like you're planting seeds so that if there's not a body in the rug, you have a way to continue this series. Can you see why some of us are a little bit annoyed at the way that you worded that? Like, again, like I said, whether it's your intention or not, you're coming off excited here. And it's just giving tacky. It's just giving distasteful to come off excited about somebody dying next door so that you have possibly two ghosts explanations so that you can keep the virality going. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's my take. That's what I thought when watching this video. Saying that somebody who died has nobody better to haunt is mean. That is a mean thing to say to somebody about somebody's loved one. She had somebody who loved her. I am positive. Like, that's just... It's like acting like ghosts are cartoon characters and fictional characters from a book and not potentially somebody who actually died.
Guys, I was trying to wait until I had the actual answer because I keep getting messages of, she's dragging this out. She's doing this for clout. Shut the fuck up. No, I'm not. I just don't know yet. Here is what I've got so far. The realtor has talked to the daughter. The daughter does not know what the rug is. She also asked her about dead dogs and cats and hamsters. And she said they had many dogs and they were all cremated. So she does not think there is a buried dog. So what is going to happen next, you impatient little bitches? She's going to drive her ass to the nursing home where her 90 and 95-year-old mother and father live and berate them for the answers for us. She is going to see what they know, and if they know what is in the rug and why the rug is there. I think the real estate agent that I was talking to is also highly invested at this point. But at the end of the day, the daughter's got a job to do, and so she can't go to the nursing home until tonight. So I'm sorry. I thought I was going to get a quick answer. I thought the daughter was going to be like, oh yeah, for sure. We buried our dog, Harold, under that tree, case closed, donezo. But that's not what happened. We have to wait for her to go see mom and dad at the nursing home and hope that their dementia has not wiped the memory of the rug. And for the love of God, those of you saying I'm doing this for clout, am I like, no. We're trying to figure out what's in the rug and who broke my computer.
There's a lot to unpack here. Okay, first of all, I want to address the last part where she says, to those of you who think I'm doing this for clout, like, I get where she's coming from, honestly, because it's not... If she hadn't been getting so many people interested in this, she wouldn't be posting these videos, right? It went viral. People are harassing her for updates and like mad at her when she doesn't update quickly enough, even though she has no new information. I don't blame her for posting updates. Like, people, she's giving people what they want. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're asking for. So I think most of us in this same situation would be doing this for clout a little bit. If so many people were asking for updates, there's very few people that would not give updates. I do not fault her for that whatsoever. So now, just to go back to where the story's at, the realtor that sold them the house has now gotten in contact with the previous owners. The daughter of the previous owner said that there's no animals buried out there. The animals all got cremated. And so that was another thing a lot of people thought is like maybe they rolled up a dog that passed away in the rug and buried the dog in the yard. And it was many years ago. So now, you know, the rug is super deep in there, but they said that's not the case. So instead, this daughter is going to go ask her parents, who are in their 90s in a nursing home and suffering from dementia, and going to hound them about what could be in the rug. Again, we've just lost the plot a little bit. Girly pop. Like, this is just, again, I don't think that you, in real life, you would go up to somebody and make fun of them for having dementia. Like, I don't think that's what she's doing whatsoever. I don't think she had any ill intentions by saying that whatsoever. But again, like, maybe in the future, just be a little bit more socially aware of the fact that most people have been affected by dementia. You know, their loved ones have been affected by dementia or will be affected by dementia. And dementia, as many of you know, is absolutely fucking devastating. And it's just the least thing that those people are going to be worried about. Like, yeah, the daughter might go ask her parents, but it was just kind of a weird thing to add in. It was just kind of odd to be like, hopefully their dementia doesn't fuck up our viral TikTok story. You know what I mean? Like, again, I don't think she meant it that way, but be aware of how this stuff is coming off. That's all I'm saying.
Guys, I went from hard labor to hard liquor because I will now be the cheerleader for The Dig, brought to you by HDL Construction in Hilliard, Ohio. Obviously, we will stream this live, and then there will be a final reveal video posted. And so tune in if your heart desires. 4:30 EST. That is when the crew will be here. That is when we will start digging. I was actually just out at the hole because People Magazine needed some pictures, and like, I truly can't tell which direction it goes. I'm so curious. I'm so curious. I appreciate all of your lack of fucking patience throughout this process. It's been fun. And if the rug, fingers crossed, is bodiless, I still want to know who is haunting me and broke my computer and threw my desk around in the middle of the night. So personally for me, even once this rug is out, my journey is not done. I'm actually thinking I'm going to have like a medium or something come over here. Honestly, it's been fun. This has been a fun journey. I've enjoyed going on it with you. Some of you will leave me afterwards, and that's fine. You can write off. But the rest of you, I'm excited for what's ahead. I've got a lot of cool ideas. I didn't bury a rug. This all just happened to me. And you all decided to hop on in and take the ride with me. But it comes to a close at 4:30 EST live on TikTok.
Okay. So now, again, I'm a little confused. Why are you so seemingly so mad that people are calling you out for wanting clout? And then you post things like this. The People Magazine comment, I want to say, was sarcasm. I think she was being sarcastic. I hope she was. I think she was just being like, oh, People Magazine, like hoity-toity. I think she was joking there. However, don't get mad at us for thinking you're in this for clout when you're literally like super excited. The sarcasm being like, fuck you all for not wanting to watch me anymore after this. Fuck you all for your impatience. Like, being rude to the people that made this viral is really odd to me. And then just like saying like, I'm not in this for clout, but in the same breath saying I cannot wait for hundreds of thousands, and yes, 6-figure people to join the live and watch this all go down is very contradictory to me. Like, it feels a little unfair that we're not allowed to criticize her, but she's allowed to criticize people for not wanting to stick around. And then she's mean to us, literally flipped us off in that video for not wanting to follow her after this. If we don't want to follow you after this, being like, it's fine, but fuck you. Is it fine then? Like, that, what? That's so, what? I'm so confused. Notice she's again planting seeds for like, but what about the laptop? And being like, please stay after the rug, because if there's nothing in the rug, at this point, again, you cannot be mad at us for thinking that you want there to be a body in the rug. Like, the way you're treating this makes it feel like you're really hoping there's a dead body in your yard. Don't blame her for the updates. I get it. We're the ones that made it go viral. I get it. But like, come on, don't be mad at us for thinking that you might be a little bit too excited about this when that is how your behavior is coming across. Okay, I'm going to summarize part 17 through 20 because there's nothing really to react to. She said she gets a call from Homicide who says that, just kidding, we are interested about what's under your house and what's in the rug, and we're going to actually hire cadaver dogs. We're going to send the cadaver dogs over. We're going to have the detectives from Homicide come over, and we're all going to check what's under there. A bunch of this was live streamed, but she does show us some footage of the dogs sitting on the spot to show that the cadaver dogs smelled blood.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
However, she specifies that the police told her that this does not necessarily mean there's a body under there. It means that there's blood. So they said this, again, could be some sort of pet. It could be somebody had a bloody nose. Somebody cut themselves with the kitchen knife. It got all over the rug, and they eventually threw the rug away and buried it in the yard. That's all it could be. But since the cadaver dogs did alert to that spot, it gave the police enough reason to go and get the equipment to dig out the rug. In part 21, she's talking about how the live stream stopped because the police told her to turn off the camera.
It was already on live, and that's why I'm basically going to share everything that is already out there in the world. And then anything that happened essentially after the police told me to turn off the camera will remain in the hands of the law.
So I guess, and for those of you who could not sense sarcasm, this is sarcasm. The police didn't want her to film a potential crime scene investigation and a potential crime scene. Imagine that. So again, I have to say, her words are contradicting her actions. Like, she's live streaming this, even though she's not supposed to. She did turn off the camera after the police told her to turn it off, to be fair. But like, again, if you were like, actually, I don't know, it just seems odd. Why aren't you just giving updates? Why do you have to live stream the whole thing? And yet you swear on your life you're not in this for the clout, or you're not enjoying the attention whatsoever. I call bullshit on that. That's all. And then the next few clips after this, she's just showing us the police working outside of her window just to prove they were really there. They were making her stay back again so she didn't interfere with a potential crime scene if it did end up being a crime scene. Okay, here's part 28. We're almost done with the actual series.
You guys, they have recovered the hole, and this has been the most absurd, insane experience of my life. What did they find? No, they didn't find a body. They found a mother effing rug with some rubber. The question remains of why did the dogs hit? I don't know. Both dogs, not just one, two. I don't know. The other question remains is who broke my laptop? There's people across the street. I don't know. I'm so confused. There's no body. Honestly, let's praise the Lord. There's no body. I can stay in my house. Everyone knows where I live, but at least it's not haunted by that. But who broke my laptop? Who broke the laptop? Because we've still got the next door neighbor that died the day I moved in. Her house got boarded up the day my computer got broken. So I don't know. It's almost Halloween. Do I need a psychic to come to my house? I don't know. But the mystery of the effing rug is solved, and there is no body. There's no body. And they're doing a fine job at putting my stuff back up, let me tell you. I appreciate the way that they have recovered. This was the fire pit. That is no more. That is gone. So I will survive that. But holy shit, there's no body. Yay! I have still been sitting in this very chair, wondering and questioning
Why the dogs marked? Not me Googling, like, how likely is it for a dog to mark and nothing to be there? Yes, that's exactly what I'm fucking doing. I don't understand. I don't understand. I will never understand. I will take this question with me to the grave. How did that happen? I'm glad. Don't get this twisted. I am thrilled there is not a dead body in my yard. Also, still confused at who or what broke my computer screen. My dead neighbor died day I move into this house, boarding up her house, the day that my computer shatters. Tell me that's not a coincidence. I don't know.
It's a coincidence.
But I have seen a lot of really funny TikToks, and I'm so glad that this brought us all together. So glad that we all enjoyed this fucking ride, because it was really fun. It was fun, and then it wasn't, and it really wasn't for a hot minute there, actually. It was like really not fun, and I was really scared, and I was crying on a live in front of 120,000 people, and I thought there was a dead body in my backyard, and I really thought I was about to fucking shit my pants in front of the world. And then it was fun again. And then it was a hee hee ha ha all over again. So thank you.
So the saga ends with the fact that there was no body in her yard. They found nothing. They got the carpet up and there was nothing there. But she continues to plant seeds for now. What are we going to do about my laptop? Like, we have to figure out the ghost that broke my laptop, which is like, a ghost didn't break your laptop, girl. Occam's razor would tell us that there is a dozen other explanations that make more sense than a ghost for your laptop. And like I said, she keeps bringing the dead neighbor back into it. Like, she really, really wants to be haunted. And I just don't think that she is. Like, I'm sorry, but you gotta let it go. You're not haunted. It's not a ghost. Not everything is a ghost. She also claims to be very, very happy that there's no body in her backyard. Many people believe that she seems very like she's lying. People think she's lying. People think that she's very disappointed that there wasn't a body in her yard because this has gone so viral. Now, here's my spiel. This is going to be a little bit of a rant, so just stick with me here. I understand both sides, right? Like, I am not mad at her, even if she is lying and she is sad that there's not like, it's not something like you would tell yourself. Like, you wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm so bummed there wasn't a body. Of course you're going to say that you're relieved there's not a body. No normal person, normal human being would be like, oh, I'm disappointed that nobody died in my yard. Like, nobody's going to say that publicly. Nobody's going to admit that. And we can't be mad at her for not admitting that. And also, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong. If it was a dead body, is it that much of a relief that there wasn't? Because the only thing this would have done was probably solve a missing persons case. If this was a person, it's not like this is adding a murder to the world. The murder would have already happened. And so all this would have done was help the police in Ohio solve a missing persons case. So I don't think it's necessarily inherently bad to admit that it would have been crazy if there was a body in that rug. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, I do think that many of us wouldn't admit that we would low-key think that that would be a really exciting story, because that would be a crazy story to tell at parties till the end of time. But there's a line. And again, like I said, I'm getting frustrated by the fact that she's insisting that she's not doing this for clout. She hates the attention when she's talking to news outlets, giving news outlets stuff. Trying to live stream the possible uncovering of a crime scene is just wild to me. And it feels really unfair for her to get mad at us for questioning her motives when her actions are not matching up with her words, if that makes sense. Okay, now let's talk about the Do We Know Them podcast. The Do We Know Them podcast is one of the most popular podcasts on YouTube, I would say. It's definitely not like Trisha Paytas or Tana's type podcast in the sense of how big it is, but a lot of people, like, they have over 100% engagement from their viewership. I'll say that. They're in the 100,000s for subscribers, and they consistently get over 100,000 views on every single video, and they are killing it. They're doing amazing. And I will admit, I'm a certified girly, okay? They're my favorite YouTube. They are my favorite non-spooky podcast. I will say that. I tune in for every single episode. I absolutely love Jessie, but I'm definitely a Lily or the other girl. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'd be more friends with Lily in real life. I have a bona fide parasocial relationship with these two women. I'm going to sign up for their Patreon once it comes out. I am so excited for their, like, all that. Like, I am a bona fide certified girly. So I have to admit that makes me biased in this case. But let me explain the tea. Let me explain the drama. So what happened was Lily and Jessie made a podcast episode that went out last week. And that's actually how I heard about this before I went onto TikTok and found that 1,000,000,001 people and their mother were tagging me in this story, and I hadn't found it yet. And they went through this story and they were harsh on Katie. I will say that. Their whole episode was about this. And like I said, I am biased because I like Lily and Jessie. However, there are some parts that they were a little harsh. For example, the dementia thing, Jessie really went in on her.
We have to wait for her to go see mom and dad at the nursing home and hope that their dementia.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind right now. And people just commenting, you think they'll tell the truth? You're still gonna have to dig it up. When I worked in a nursing home, we had an old man confess to a murder that happened many, many years ago. They're old. They're dying.
And she comments back,
they don't know.
You never know.
Oh my God. She is... Okay, you're on my shit list now, lady. It started off, you were just a little cloud goblin. I can smell it. Now you're starting to piss me off. You hope the dementia didn't wipe away their memory of the rug? You are a witch. Like, what the fuck?
It's not that couldn't happen. Is that, like, there could be a body in this rug. But if there was, this is how you're treating it?
They film one of the lives where she finds out in real time that the police officer tells her that there's no body there. And Katie says in the live stream, she's live streaming this, and she's like, oh, that's the best news I've ever heard. Something like that. And Jessie and Lily are like, tell me she's not about to cry because there's not a body in her yard.
Just to let you know, we found nothing to indicate any kind of body, human remains, anything.
That is the best news I could have ever heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
not the
we got the rug out there. It's gone.
Okay.
We tried to put everything.
I'm like, is it though? Because you kind of seem not that thrilled.
That's the best news I've ever got.
Look at her face this whole time afterwards. Like, tell me she's not about to cry and not like tears of relief.
Mind you, 162,000 people watching this live.
Like, they are, I would say, putting words in her mouth and making her react, kind of assuming a lot of her reactions that weren't there. They pretty much said that this person's just a clout goblin, that Katie was doing all of this, like she was really obsessed with the clout, and that her past, because she had a YouTube channel that was obsessed with the Jonas Brothers in the past, that she's been shown to be a clout goblin before. She's doing all this for attention. They were really, Jessie especially was pretty upset about the way she was talking about the neighbor and dead bodies, which I understand. As I said, I was in agreement with that. And then they basically called her a clout goblin though. Like, that's the gist, is that Jessie and Lily's take on the whole situation, if you don't watch their podcast, is that Katie's a clout goblin. This is so ridiculous. They didn't understand why this went viral. I want to give my perspective based on somebody who is way more in the niche that this viral story went in. I am in the paranormal niche. I am in the internet mysteries niche. This kind of stuff is my bread and butter. So I feel like I have some valuable input on both sides. I'm biased. I like Jessie and Lily, so I enjoyed the episode. I agreed with a lot of their points. I thought they were valid in a lot of their points. Were they a little too harsh? Yes, they were, to be fair. I do feel like sometimes Jessie and Lily, because they cover so many topics and it's not so niche, because they cover such a wide array of topics, I do feel like sometimes they don't always cover all the nuances of a topic. And sometimes they do, just because they're not looking at the whole picture, they like are often just reacting in the moment without writing it down and thinking about it the way I do in my scripts. Sometimes they do come off a little bit unfairly harsh. However, Katie saw this episode, or at least heard about it, and this was her response on TikTok.
I just wanted to come on here really quickly and let you know that what you will never see on my page is being really fucking mean, spreading misinformation, spreading lies, and making a random 34-year-old mom in Ohio cry. That's what you won't see. I just had the pleasure of watching an hour and a half podcast of these two really, really kind girls talk about me and call me a clout goblin about 765 times. What I find to be ironic is that they have an hour and a half podcast talking about me. So who is the one chasing the clout here? I don't know, but I don't think it's me. I don't think it's me. I sent a lovely DM asking to send them screenshots so that I can prove all of their lies wrong. Will they give a shit? Probably not. They don't seem like the kind of girls who would. So I just wanted to let you know what you will and will not see here on my page. Will I make you laugh? I hope so. Could I make you cry? I don't know, maybe. I like to be vulnerable. I like to talk about hard shit. Did I end up with 2 million followers after this entire escapade? Yes, we can all fucking look at my profile and see that. Should I never post again because of it? Is every post I make ever again from now on for the rest of time clout chasing? What would you like me to do? Delete my TikTok and start over? I think that sounds silly. But let me tell you, I also think it's silly to spend an hour and a half in the Year of the Eras tour to go onto a podcast to bully someone who you don't know, to bully someone who was absolutely fucking normal and had 5,000 followers 2 weeks ago and was posting about her miscarriage. That's what you choose to do with your time. That's what you choose to do with your voice. That's what you choose to do with your platform. You do you, girls. It won't be here. It won't be happening here. So you can trust that anytime you see me on your feed, it will be fucking kindness. It will be laughter. It could be tears. It will be anything but bullying.
Okay, Katie, girl, listen, I understand they hurt your feelings. I understand that a lot of the people calling you a liar, calling you a clout chaser are hurting your feelings. And that is so unbelievably valid. I empathize with that. As someone who has also gone viral a couple times on YouTube, and once on TikTok as well, it's very overwhelming. It's really hard. I can understand when people are asking for real-time reactions and updates from you, you don't have a lot of time to think through it all, think through all the nuances, think through how you might be offending people or how you might be coming across. I get it. And I also understand crying because of things that people have said about you on the internet. Trust me, I get it. It's overwhelming. It's very hard. And I just want to put some empathy on her for it's hard to go this viral this fast as well. I understand where she's coming from. I can understand why Jessie and Lily's podcast hurt her feelings. However, I think also she said a few things in this video that I am going to criticize. The first thing, bringing up her miscarriage. That to me is a manipulation. That is giving, I've been suicidal, so please don't criticize me. It's the Jimmy Snow effect. That is exactly what Jimmy Snow said when people, sorry, this is a side tangent, but it's a very good example of it. When people were mad at him for defending Gabby Hanna, of all people, Gabby Hanna being horrible, her indefensible actions, he was defending her. And when people called him out, his apology was, I've been in a dark place, a really dark place, implying that he's had suicidal thoughts and ideations or self-harm thoughts and stuff.
While I have tried to put on a mostly strong face, this has been the darkest time in my life in years. I have retreated into behaviors that are harmful, and I am desperate to get back to some level of normalcy.
Does it feel like he's guilt tripping us right now?
That is weaponizing mental health to get people on your side. That is weaponizing mental health to avoid accountability and to avoid criticism. That kind of shit does not fly with me. It pisses me off quite a bit. And that is what I feel like you were doing in this video by saying you made a mom in Ohio cry and I just had a miscarriage and stuff. That has nothing to do with it. You know this. And you are weaponizing your miscarriage and your mental health now to try to avoid some valid criticism, even if it wasn't said nicely. This is a reminder, too, that nobody has to be nice to you to criticize you. We don't have to be nice to you. Nobody owes you being super, super fluffy and sugarcoating everything. Lily and Jessie get to have, it's free speech. They get to say whatever they want. And you coming on and saying they bullied you, knowing that the vast majority of your audience is never going to go actually watch the podcast to get the full context, in my opinion, I have the right to criticize you for that. That is not fair. You cannot go on and say they bullied me for an hour and a half and play the victim when they did not. What they were doing was not bullying. I am sorry, but that is not what bullying is. Bullying is harassment. In fact, let's look up the definition of bullying, shall we? Bullying is the repetitive, intentional hurting of one person or group by another person or group, where the relationships involves an imbalance of power. My understanding is that bullying is harassment. Bullying is repeatedly Jeffree Star is a bully. Jeffree Star is the perfect example of a bully. I despise Jeffree Star, granted, but he is the perfect definition of a bully. I think what bullying would be is if Jesse and Lily sat down for an hour and a half and they said, oh my God, this woman is such a clout chaser. You guys should all go tell her that she's stupid and a liar and a clout chaser and go make her feel bad. That would be bullying. That would be bullying. Or if they had slightly implied that people should go harass her about this. That's bullying. What they did was not bullying. And I am so annoyed that you came on, put yourself in the victim place. I'm really sorry. I know that sounds so harsh, but that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing when you're weaponizing your mental health against criticism. You're deflecting the criticism by saying, but my mental health, but this tragic thing that happened to me. Nobody deserves to have what happened to you happen to you. Nobody deserves to have a miscarriage. I cannot imagine the pain that you went through. That has nothing to do with this. That is not me not being empathetic about a miscarriage. That is me calling out the fact that your words and actions on the internet came across a certain way. And you cannot be mad at us for calling out the way your behaviors came across. So let's do a little recap here. You were extremely disrespectful to a neighbor who actually passed away, who didn't have anybody better to haunt. Those were your words. You spoke about a dead person in that way. You seemed, although you might not have actually been seen, I will say, I'm sure you were anxious. I'm sure that your anxiety about going viral was causing a lot of what seemed like excitement and happiness when you weren't, when you were just overwhelmed and anxious. I totally agree that they were too harsh on that front. And I do think that that's what a lot of this was. I also don't think that there's anything wrong with being a clout goblin sometimes. I also think we're a little too mean to clout goblins sometimes. I do understand why your feelings were hurt because they were unnecessarily harsh a couple times. Do I think you're lying about any of this? No, I don't think that this whole rug story was set up. I think that goes way too far. I don't think you set any of this up. Saying things like, I better have a murder podcast out of this, or if I don't get on a murder podcast, I'm gonna be mad. And then to come back and say that people calling that out is just bullying you. Be so for real. Come on, don't do that. That you know that's not true. You know that saying stuff like that makes you seem a little bit like a clout goblin. I'm not saying she's a bad person whatsoever. I'm sure she's a great person. She seems like a great mom, and she seems like a great person who got really, really wrapped up in something and didn't have time to fully think it through and was just kind of putting out updates because that's what people were hounding her for. So in all fairness, that's what she was trying to do, was appease to the hundreds of thousands of people that were DMing her and commenting to get more updates out. And because of that, I spend days thinking through scripts, thinking about what I'm going to say, and having time to look at all angles. So I do understand from her point of view making some mistakes, but it's also okay to admit that you made some mistakes and that it's okay to say I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have said that about dementia. I shouldn't have said that about my poor neighbor that died. That was a little insensitive. And I know that some of my, maybe just explain, I know some of my actions were coming across I was really happy about all these tragedies happening, but that's not what I meant. And I'm really sorry that it came across that way, but I was just so overwhelmed, and that is how I deal with anxiety, is by laughing through it, and I nervous laugh. That's all that it is. Okay, I've talked way too long about this. Was this even a really spooky video? Not really, but I thought that this was so interesting that some of my worlds were colliding here, and I really wanted to talk about it. This goes without saying, but please do not go and send Katie anything but love and support. I don't think that she did anything egregious enough in this whole saga to be like canceled or for us to be mad at her, because I honestly do think that all of the things that she deserves criticism for were mistakes. I do think they were honest mistakes that did not have cruel or insensitive intentions behind them. I really just think we lost the plot a little bit, and we've all done that in our lives. Love and support for the Do We Know Them podcast. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of that podcast, so it doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize them too when the time comes. But the difference is that I think Jesse and Lily would be okay with me criticizing them. I think if they were to watch this video, they'd be like, yeah, maybe we were a little harsh at some points, or like maybe we didn't see the whole picture clearly enough. I don't think they would have like brought out like, well, we've had a really hard time the last couple weeks, so stop bullying us. That's the difference, if that makes sense. I think if they saw this video, their reaction would have been, I think they would be way more receptive to feedback. Whereas, yeah. And I think they also understand, because they've been on the internet so long, they are some of the OG, YouTubers. I think they also understand that you just don't get on the internet if you cannot take constructive feedback or non-constructive feedback. Like, sorry, that's not how the internet works. You don't get to be on and have literally 100 people support you. I get dislikes on every single video. There's people out there that absolutely hate my guts. And I get it. It's fine. They can hate me all they want. You don't build an audience by pleasing everybody. That's the point. You don't you have to have supporters. You have to have people that don't like you. All right. We've ranted enough for one day. I don't know if you guys are going to like this video because it's a little bit different than what we normally did. Definitely focused more on weird niche internet drama than the spooky stuff so much. But I also thought you guys would be interested in this definitely did not need to just go in a random TikTok debunking video because it was such a long saga that I wanted to go through. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want more videos like this or if this was just not your cup of tea, and let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video to help the channel. Don't forget our discount code and our sponsor, which is Factor. The info for that will be down below. Don't forget our merch. If you haven't picked up your Camping Cryptids merch yet, it's been a very, very popular pick. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much to all the patrons on the screen right now. I appreciate each and every one of you so, so much. And I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, goodbye.